Hello, everyone, and welcome to Applied Financial Analysis. All right, so again, I'm Professor Keys, and as discussed, I would walk you guys through the chapter based upon the book. So hopefully, you guys could follow. Now, remember, I'm recording this live, so I may make mistakes. There might be background noises, a lot's going on around me, but just please bear with me. It's my first video, so as time goes by, hopefully it will get better, but hopefully you guys will get the meaning from this as I go through the chapter. Now, I am on page 2 in your books, and I want you guys just to read up on what is Excel, why we're using this program, and most importantly, how to get to Excel. Now, if you remember from our phone conversation, I said that my Excel is on a Mac computer. As such, it may look a little bit different than what you may have. But a lot of the functionality is still the same. If there are differences, I'll try to point them out. But pretty much it should be very similar. If you have any issues with any discrepancies, please remember to see me in the web chat. We could talk about that and we could work through those together. But pretty much everything should be the same. Now, to get to Excel, you would need to go to your Start button, go to Microsoft Office, and click on Excel. I already have Excel open here, as you could see. Now, before you actually start using Excel, there are a couple things you need to know. Now, if you go to page 3 in your textbooks, you'll notice that they point out the different parts to Excel. Okay, the first part being the access bar, toolbar up here. All right, this area right here is called your ribbon, and this ribbon it's what's probably one of your most important pieces to Excel, because this is where you're gonna change up your table formatting and get the table or the spreadsheet to look exactly how you want it to look. So that's your ribbon. This right here is your formula bar, where it has a little FX here. All right, you could click on that. We'll talk about formulas soon, but if you need to write a formula, it goes here. Okay, and you'll see a formula here too. This is your name box. Oops, let me X out of that here. So if you notice my cell, I'm pointing to A1, so it's telling me I'm in A1 here. If I go to B1, this moves to B1. C5, C5. Okay, so this right here just tells me where I am. If you go to the bottom of the sheet, each spreadsheet may have different tabs. So I'm on sheet 1. If I want a second sheet, I could open that up and I could call sheet 1 table 1. All right, if you double click on the name, it will change. You can delete it, call it table 2. All right, so you could have multiple sheets in one workbook. Okay, and that is not uncommon. As you get deeper into this class, you'll learn to start linking your sheets. Okay, if you go to up here, you have a beautiful little help button, and I can't find my help button. Let's see if I could find it. Nope, that just closes my ribbon. Oh, here. All right, so here is my help button up here, and you could type in any help or any questions if there's something you want to do and you don't know how to do it. In your books, if you look on page 3, your help button might just be as simple as a question mark at the top of the page. So just get familiar with Excel in and of its own. Okay. All right, on to page 4. Okay. Alright. So on your ribbon, you're going to see the file. Alright, this is if you want to save your document, you save it as. If you want to open up a new workbook, you could do that. You could also change your page layout here. Alright, do you want to change your page to a side page, which is orientation? Do you want a background? Do you want to include a header or a footer? You could also add tables. Okay, charts. We're going to talk about that soon. Okay, any type of data. Alright, do you want a pivot table? What if? Alright, all of this. And if you look on page 5, your book talks about add-ins and developer. We'll save that for a little bit later. But just understand that basically this is going to be your go-to, this ribbon right here throughout the course. Okay? Okay. Alright, so if you go to page 8, there are two ways in which you could move around your Excel spreadsheet. You could use your mouse, which is what I'm doing right now, or you could use the arrow keys. Alright, up, down, side, up, and around. Alright, so just keep in mind, if you want to select a range of cell, you could click on that cell, hold down your mouse, and just drag it. Alright, so sometimes you want to select an area. Okay, to select an area, you just click anywhere where you want to start, hold it down with your mouse, and drag your mouse. Okay, that's called selecting a range of cell at any one time. Okay, page 9. Okay, now go to page 10 or 11 in your textbooks. Let's start with page 11. Okay, entering text or numbers. Okay, it says each cell in an Excel worksheet can be thought of as a miniature word processor. Text can be entered directly into the cell and then formatted in a variety of ways. To enter a text string, first select the cell where you want the text to appear and then just begin typing. It is just that simple. Excel is smart enough to know the difference between a number and a text, so there are no extra steps for entering numbers. So we're going to try this using the example that is in your books on page 11. Now I'm going to do it here on the screen, but you also have it in your books where you could also follow step by step. So it says, select cell A1 and type Microsoft Corporation sales. In A2, enter millions of dollars. Okay. Select A3, type 2008 to 2013. Okay. Note that the entry in cell A3 will be treated as a text by Excel because of the spaces and letters included. Now in cells A4 to F4, I'm using my arrows, so we're working with these 3 across or 4 across. In cell A4 to F4, type in 2003 in A4. Type in 2012 in B4. Select A and B. I'm going to select these two, so I hold down my mouse, drag it across, and then I'm going to go to this little arrow at the end, and I'm going to drag it over to the F. See how it automatically fills this in for me? Alright, I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm going to clear this. As a matter of fact, I could highlight this, edit, and I'm going to clear all. And I'm going to do this one more time. 2013, 2012. Excel is smart enough. I highlight my 2 years. Excel is smart enough. Go to my little arrow, my little drag box here at the edge, and just drag it. Hold it and drag it across. It goes to 2008. Okay. It says, notice that the most recent data is typically entered at the left and the most distant data is entered to the right. So we go from 2013 going down. This convention allows us to easily recognize and concentrate on what is usually the most important data. We have set up the headings for our worksheet. Now let's add Microsoft sales in millions of dollars for the years 2008 to 2014 or 13 using A5. So here I'm clicking on A5. Let me click on it properly to F5. So we're going to enter it as shown in the exhibit below. So if you go to F5A, we have 77,849. 77,849. We'll do that again. 737. And I'm entering this straight from the book. So guys, just use this. Practice. Alright, 62484. 2009, 58437. 2008, 60420. Okay. So, this is what we're working with. This is our raw data. So it says the worksheet in this exhibit is not very attractive. Notice that the text is displayed at the left side of the cells while the numbers are to the right. By default, this is the way that Excel aligns text and numbers. However, we can easily change the way that these entries are displayed through using the formatting and alignment options. So we're going to follow the text and format it just the way they want us to. Okay. Now, if you go to the top of page 12, first paragraph, they want us to define a few typographical forms. Okay, so when we talk about the word typeface, we're looking at whether if it's a bold letter or the style of the lettering. All right, it says the main text of this book is set to Times New Roman. In my case, my font, I should say, is set to Calibri. Yours might be set to Times New Roman, and that's fine. But I like Calibri, so that's just the one that I've been working with. For purposes of homework, choose the font that is very legible to you. If you want to use Times New Roman or Calibri, that's fine. But just don't do like, scripts or something like that. I don't think it's very appropriate for an Excel document. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Going step by step, it says, before continuing, we define our typological terms. A typeface is a particular style of drawing of letters and numbers. For example, the main text of this book is in Times New Roman. However, the text that you are expected to enter into a worksheet is displayed in the Courier typeface. Typeface also refers to whether the text is drawn in bold, italics, etc. We usually refer to type size in points, and most type size are in size 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the font in the entire document to Courier. So I just go up here and I click, I go here and I type in Courier, and here it is. Alright, if you want it bigger, you could drop down, you make it bigger. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that for now. It says select A1 to A3. Okay, I'm in the third paragraph and we are going to make it bold. So I'm going to click on the big B button right here. It says click the bold button, then choose size 12 from the font list. So in sticking with the book, I'm going to change it back to 12. Alright. Notice that as you scroll through the font size list, the selected text is displayed will now look like the worksheet. So if I'm scrolling through, let's see. It's taking a little while. Alright, so I believe they want Times New Roman. Here it is. And this is how it will look. I kind of like Courier though. I'm going to go back to Courier for now. Let's leave it. Alright. It says, alright. We can easily change the fonts for numbers. Suppose we want to change the years in cells A4 to F4 to New Roman. So basically, guys, I'm not even going to spend a lot of time with it. Basically, all it is saying is if you want to change the color or anything, you could easily do that by highlighting the documents or the areas of the cell you want to change. And just click on here and you could change the font. You could basically do anything to make your document look pretty. Alright, It says one of the features that I like is to merge my headings. So I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I click on my mouse again, Microsoft, and I'm going to drag it all the way over, and I'm going to merge my text. You see how it brings the heading all the way across? Same thing here. I'm going to highlight, bring it across, hit this little button, merge. Highlight, bring across, hit this. So that way it just covers the entire area. See, it's starting to look good. And as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in just so you guys can see it a little bit bigger. Alright. It says on the top of page 13, highlight cells A1 to F3. Alright. Select Format Cells from the right-click menu. Click on the Alignment tab and click Cross Center Selection. I've already done that with my merging. Alright, so I'm good with that. Formatting your numbers. Aside from formatting the typeface and the size, which we already know how to do through here, when dealing with numbers, we can also change their appearance by adding commas, dollar signs, or by altering the number of decimal places displayed. Furthermore, we can make the numbers appear differently depending on whether they are positive or negative. Okay, for example, we may want a negative number to be red in color and displayed in parentheses rather than using a negative side. We could also experiment with design custom number fonts, but for now we will stick to the more commonly defined fonts. Okay, select the ranges A5 to F5. Okay, choose from the format cells from menu, and they want us to choose a number of decimal places displayed. So basically, guys, here's what I'm going to do. If I want a comma in there, I put a comma. Okay, please note, let me edit, undo, edit, undo. This is how it looked before. Alright, but I want a comma. There it goes. If you notice these little arrows here, if I want a comma without the decimal places, I could just say take the decimal, decrease the number of decimal places, and it becomes like that. Alright, if I want my decimal places back, I highlight my cells, click on the arrow to the left, increase the number of decimal places. Alright, but I don't want no decimal places there, so I'm going to take them off. But I do want my dollar sign, so I'm going to click on the currency here. It says accounting. And give me some dollars, baby. Again, the dollars feature automatically gave me the 2 decimal places, so I'm going to stick with that. Alright, you could actually change that. Let's see if I can change that. If my, see, dollars, 2 decimal places. So I clicked on this little arrow here, and I say, what is more accounting format? Do I want decimal places? None. And it changes it again. Okay. Alright. Adding a border and shading. Page 14. Alright, so I'm going to add a border. To add a border, highlight the area where you want the border. Alright. And if you see this little box here with a little dotted, okay, when you put your mouse over it, it says apply border. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to apply a border to the top and the bottom. See? You could do anything you want. You could do a thick one at the top, and I'm going to highlight it. Alright, so here's your highlight button. Alright, so remember, I'm going to change my border back to like the one that they have in the book, which is a top and bottom, and I have a highlight. Okay. Alright, so I think that is the basics of what we are trying to accomplish. Okay, noticing in your books that they have the decimal places behind it. So I am going to change it back, and I'm going to say I want to have 2 decimal places because I want to be consistent with the book. And so let me add my decimal places back. And now my spreadsheet is starting to look very nice, very presentable. If you notice, I have the alignment of my years to the right, and I want that to be in the center. So I'm gonna highlight all the years. I'm just gonna hold on my mouse and drag it across, and I'm just gonna say, could you put that in the center for me, please, by hitting the center text button? Okay, and here it's in the center. Alright, so it's starting to look very nice and kind of like what you are seeing in the book. Okay. Alright, so if you go to page 15, it says entering formulas. Okay, we know that formulas can be entered here, but let's see what the book is saying about what type of formulas they want us to use. It says so far we haven't done anything that couldn't easily have been done in a table in Microsoft Word. The real power of Excel or spreadsheets becomes obvious when formulas are used. Formulas will enable us to convert the data that we have entered into more useful information. At the moment, our sample worksheet contains only sales data for Microsoft. Let's suppose, however, that we are interested in performing a simple analysis of the profitability of Microsoft over the 2008 to 2013 time period. In this case, we would also need to see the net income for each of the years under study. So let's make some modification to the spreadsheet to make it more useful. All right. Add the data from table 1 2 to sample worksheet in cells A6 to F6 immediately below the sales data. So here is A6. All right. To F6. Okay, so we are going to add, okay, net income right below 21,863, 16,978, 23,150, 18,760, 23,150. Am I in the right thing? 2183, 2012, 16978, 18760, 14569, and 17681. Again, notice that the formatting is not the same, so I'm going to highlight and I'm going to hit my little currency button. Formats it just like the ones above. Okay. It says, now we have a couple of problems. Okay, the title of our worksheet in cell A1 is no longer accurate. We are now putting together a profitability analysis, so we should change the title to reflect this is the change of the focus. So Microsoft sales is no longer that. We're going to call this Microsoft profitability analysis. Okay, it says cell 1. All right, it says notice that the text up here on the right hand side, select. All right, our only remaining problem is that the data in the worksheet are not clearly identified. Ideally, we would like to have the data labeled in the column just to the left of the first data point. But there's no column to the left because, guys, if you remember, these first numbers up here were sales. These numbers here are now net income. But by just putting it here, you know, whoever looks at the spreadsheet, they're not able to tell what sales are net income. So we probably need to add something to the left of here to identify. But if you look, there's nothing to the left of A. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to insert a column. To insert a column, you're going to highlight the column just beside the one you want to insert it. And you're going to go to insert. column. Voila. Alright, it moves it right over and creates another A column for you. Okay, now the column that we're going to insert is, first column is sales, second column is net income, because that's what it was. Income, not comes. Alright, so now our spreadsheet is looking a little bit different. So we're on page 16. Okay, it says, if you're following the examples exactly, the words net income probably did not fit the exact into. You're right, it didn't fit. When I typed it in, it looked something like this. You could only see the net. Alright, to fix that, you could either click on this little arrow here and hold it down, move it over, or I'm going to move it back. You could just find that little sweet spot in between and just double tap it with your mouse. That. Alright, and it will move it right over. So I'm going to do it again, and you just double click it. It moves it to the perfect width for you. Alright, it says, now we can proceed with our profitability analysis. Because of the dramatic growth in sales over the years, it isn't immediately clear from the data whether Microsoft's profitability has been improved or not. Even though net income has increased, and it has, if you look from 2008 on, there's been a steady increase. It says even though net income has increased over time. In this type of situation, it is generally preferable to look at net income as a percentage of sales, which is called the net profit margin. Okay? Thankfully, we don't have to type in more data to do this. Instead, we can let Excel calculate these percentages for us. All we need to do is enter the formulas. Okay? Formulas in Excel are based upon your cell address. Okay? And your cell address, remember, is up here. Right? To add two cells together, we simply tell Excel to take the contents of the first cell, add it to the contents of the second. The result of the formula will be placed in the cell where the formula is entered. In our problem, we will need to find net income as a percentage of sales. Before entering our first formula, we should insert a label identifying the data. So in cell A7, right, we're going to type net profit margin. And again, if you look, it's spilling over into my 2013, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go here, double click, it moves the cell right over for me. Okay. It says activate cell, change the active cell to B7. So I'm in B7 right now, where we want to place the first calculation or the first formula. The problem that we want to solve is to take the number in cell B6, which is net income, and divide it by the number in B5, which is sales. Okay? To do that, you type in your equal sign, because by typing in your equal sign, that initiates or tell Excel that a formula is being placed here. And you're going to say, for my formula, I want to take cell B6. So I click on B6. I do the divide sign. And what do I want to divide it by? B5. Hit enter. Okay, here's your result, 0.2808, right? It says, in this example, we typed the formula directly into the cell because the small size of our worksheet made it easier to know what cells we wanted to use the formula in. In many instances, this is not the case because sometimes you may have more complicated worksheets where it might be easier to use the pointer mode or enter the actual formula up here instead. Okay. Move to C7, and we will enter the formula using the pointer mode. First, type in equal okay. Now we want to type C6 divided by C5, 2303. Well, mine is a little bit different. Alright, the book says the result will be 0.2303. I got 0.2301, so not too far off, so I'm okay, right? It says, let's change the format of these, and let's see if I highlight these two, and if I drag it over, if it will keep my formula. Yes, look, if I do this, it's D5, 6 over D5. You see it up here? If I click on here, it's E6 over E5, so I don't have to type the formula all the time. I did it twice, and I just highlighted them, click on my little pointer at the side, and dragged it over, and it did it for me for all the years. So I'm gonna reduce my view, my zoom a little bit, so you can see the entire screen. Here it is. Okay, now these are in percentages, but it doesn't really look like percentages right now. It's just doing a 0.8 point something, so I could change that. Again, highlight the cells that I want to change, and I'm just going to click on my little percentage button here, and it just changes it into percentages for me. Isn't that nifty? Okay. I want my percentages to be rounded to 2 decimal place. So I'm going to see I use my increase decimal places arrow, and it did that for me. So I clicked on that. So I did percentage, and the percentage gave me a flat percent. I didn't want that. So I said change it. I don't know about this formula here. Okay. All my formulas look fine except that one. I don't know why. Let me check my data. 73723 divide by 6. That's why my number here was wrong. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now my formulas are looking good. Alright, let's talk about copying and moving formulas. Page 17. We did that already actually with the moving and dragging, so we're good with that. If you go to page 18 in your textbooks, you'll realize that they have different mathematical operators. So if you wanted to add, just for example, you could put equal sign. I want to add cell B6 plus B5, or B5 plus B6. Hit the enter button. And my Excel is acting up, and it adds them both up for me here. Alright, so if you go to the page 19, they have different mathematical operations that you could use. If you want to subtract, they give you all the simple formulas. Dividing and doing exponentiation, they are all there. Alright, so I'm going to delete that. Alright, let's continue. Alright, we are on page 20, using Excel built-in functions. Now, the pages that I skipped, guys, please feel free to read over those. The only reason why I skipped them is because I just feel that they weren't necessary right now for what we were doing. I didn't want to overcomplicate things. But basically what I just skipped is that Excel has a feature where if you're looking for a formula and it's not there, you could order a built-in formula or have somebody outside of Excel build that formula for you, and you could export it into Excel. But for now, we're going to work with formulas that are already in Excel. Okay, the first formula we're going to learn about in this chapter is geomean. Okay, so if you're on page 20, it says here, geomean. It says we could build some very pretty impressive worksheets with the techniques that we have examined so far, but why should we have to build all our formulas from scratch, especially when some of them can be quite complex and therefore error prone? Excel comes with hundreds of built-in functions, and more than 50 of them are financial functions. These functions are ready to go. All they need is for you to supply cell references as inputs. We will be demonstrating the use of many of these functions throughout the book. But for now, let's redo our growth rate calculations using the built-in functions. Because we want to know the compound annual growth rate of growth, we can use Excel's built-in geomean function. To use this function, the syntax is equal to geomean ... So basically the syntax is what you're going to put into your formula up here for the data that you're trying to analyze, okay? Geomean function could take up to 255 cell addresses. So basically, you could do a geomean on the entire page, but we don't have all of that. We only have this data here. Remember, we want to find the geomean rate of growth of sales, not the geomean of the dollar amount of sales. So we kind of want to analyze based upon the trend that we've seen from 2008 to 2013. What is my sales potential, okay? Because the geomean function simply calculates the nth root of the product of the inputs, we need to redefine our inputs. We use We use the dollar amount of sales in our custom built formula. Now let's add a row of percentage changes in sales to our worksheet. So they want us to move to A10. Okay, and enter the label percentage change in sales. Then in B10, enter the formula equals B5 divided by C5 minus 1. The result should be 0.059590, which is because of rounding. So it's the same thing that I have, right? This shows that the sales grew by 5.60% from 2012 to 2013. And I'm going to fix this up to make it 5.6. So I rounded. So I changed to a percentage. Alright, I'm going to undo, edit, undo, edit, undo. When I did the formula, here it is up here, this happened. To make it more palatable or presentation wise, I press my percentage. You could say there is a 6% growth in sales from 2012 to 2013. If you want to be more precise, you show 2 decimal place. It's a 5.6% growth in sales. Alright, now they want us to copy the formula from B10 and apply it to all the cells, C to G. So I'm gonna do file, copy, or edit copy I should say, and I'm gonna highlight the cells where I want to copy it to, and I'm gonna do edit, paste. Okay, so when you paste it, here it goes. Alright, B5, so the numbers change, C5 over D5 minus 1. Okay, it says in your books, copy the formula from B10 to each cell in the C10 to F10 rate. Note that we don't copy the formula into G10 because that would cause an error since H10 doesn't have any data. Alright, so this doesn't have, because remember, if there was data to compare it with, because this is going into the H column and there's nothing in H, so you're getting an error, meaning that your formula tried to divide by a 0. Okay, now to calculate the compound average annual growth rate of sales, we need to enter the geomean function in B11. Okay, B11 is going to be equal, and I'm going to do it up here, equal geomean, following from the book now, B10 to F10. because there's nothing in G. Okay. And I'm getting an error. So let's figure it out. It says now to calculate the compound average annual growth rate of sales growth, we need to enter the geomean function in B11, and it's going to be equal to geomean B10 to F10. Because our sales data points are in one continuous range, we chose to specify the range rather than each individual cell. Let's also apply a label so that when we come back later, we can remember what the cells represent. Move to A11 and type in sales growth. Mine didn't work, so let's see. Let me just do this for now and figure out what I did wrong. So I'm going to go to equal geomean B10. I'm going to drag my baby across B10, F10. I change that to 0. Alright, let's see what my issue is. Sales growth. Percentage change in sales. Cell 8. Sales growth, net income growth. Percentage change in sales. And sales growth. Alright, so going back, I have an issue. Alright, and this is the joy of using Excel, because I want to make sure I give you the right information. So I said let me add this. Edit, undo. Calculate the average annual rate. We need to enter geomean function in B11. Choose your data points in one of the continuous range. We need to specify rather than. Now let's also supply a label. Yes. Have you noticed any problems with the results of the geomean function? Yes, I'm getting a number sign. The result is a number error rather than 5.2%. That we got when using our custom formula. Either our custom formula is incorrect or we have misused the geomean function. Actually, this type of error is common and easily overlooked. What has happened is that when using the geomean function, we didn't fully understand what goes on behind the scenes. Remember that geomean simply takes the nth root of the product of the numbers. When multiplying numbers that are less than 1, the result is even smaller, not larger, as is the case with numbers greater than 1. What we should have done is calculate the geometric mean of the price relative changes. That is the 1 plus the percentage change. So to fix this error, replace the formula in B10 with B5 over C5 and copy it. B5 divided by C5. Ooh. Whoa. Oops. Edit. Undo autofill. Wait, I did it wrong. B5 divided by C5. and then I'm going to copy it. Remember, this is 0. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the geomean function and minus it by 1. And that gives me 5.2%. Exactly the same as our previous result. So to avoid errors like this one, you must simply understand that the built-in formula is doing. Never blindly accept results just because Excel has calculated them for you. Garbage in, garbage out. So let's look at what happens here. Okay. All right, so we're on page 22. All right. Two things that we didn't calculate was sales growth and net income growth. So I'll go back to those in a minute. Okay. So it says using the insert function dialog box with page 22. It says, with hundreds of built-in functions available in Excel, it may be difficult to remember the name of the one that you want to use or the order of the arguments. To help you with this problem, Excel provides the insert function dialog box, which is a series of dialog boxes that guide you through the process of selecting and entering a built-in formula. Let's use the insert function to insert the geomean function in B11. First, select cell B11 and then clear the current information. Oh, my hard work gone down the drain, so it's gone. Okay. It says clear the following information. It says insert the function box pictured at left. So where's my function box? I think this is my function box. Okay. It says select a function. Scroll down the list, go to geomean. I did this already, but we could, right? It said notice there's a definition of the function at the bottom of the box. Yes, there is. Now click the OK button to change. Alright, so I'm saying yes, I want to use this function. Okay. My function box is a little bit different than what yours may look. Alright, so I'm going to say B1, B10 to F10. Okay. Oops. Geomean. Double click. B10, and I'm going to highlight B10 to F10. Yes. Alright. And -1. Complete 2 decimal places. Okay, so that's just another way to do the same thing. Okay, going on to page 26. We're almost done. All right. On page 26, we're going to talk about the FAME underscore geomean sales, right? It says, and then using a user-defined function is almost exactly the same as using a built-in function. The only difference is the file containing the functions may be opened in order for the functions to be known in Excel. An example of the use of a user-defined function, I have created one to calculate the geometric mean rate of growth of sales from the dollar amounts listed of the price relatives that we used earlier. The function is defined as FAME geomean sales. FAME geomean is the name of the function and sales is the required range of cells that contains the sales figures. The function automatically calculates the formula given in equation 1.1 on page 19. Now in your original worksheet, they want us to select B12. Then bring up the Insert Function dialog box. Choose a user-defined category to display the list of functions that were supplied with this book. In the Select Function list, select the macro name fame, and I hope I have it, underscore geomean. And I don't, so let's see if we could do it without that. All right. In the edit box, select the microname da 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 da. In the edit box for the dollar values, enter B5 to G5, which is the range of sales. So basically, guys, I'm gonna ditch this because I don't have, and I'm hoping that my Excel might be able to do this. So I'm gonna say fame underscore geomean because I am using B5 to G5. Where's B5? B5 to G5. Parentheses. And I get nothing. Let's see if I need to. Right? I think, guys, you should be able to do this in Excel. I guess it's because of the version I have. Okay. Let's create some graphics. So I'm going to leave that for now. Okay. Creating graphics. So Excel has some charts that are embedded here. You could use charts to present your data, right? So if you have a presentation to management and you have the data and you want to make it look pretty and nice, and some people are very visual. So sometimes if you have data, it's best to put it in a chart format. So if you're on page 27, it says, creating a chart in a chart sheet. When you want to focus only on a chart, then it's best to create it in its own chart sheet. We can create a chart separate from the worksheet by selecting the data and inserting a new chart sheet. So let's try creating a graph of sales versus net income for Microsoft. Now select the data in cell A4 to G6. Okay, so here we go. So we're doing sales, net income, all the way across. All right. Then right click on the tab. Okay. So you right click on your mouse. It says da 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 da. I lost my page. Insert. That's not the one I want. I want to insert. That's not the one I want either. It says, which is probably labeled sheet 1. A chart will open. It says select the data in da 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 da. Then right click the tab for the current worksheet, which is probably labeled sheet 1. From the menu that appears, click insert. So I want a new sheet. So I'm working on table. I'm going to change this back to sheet 1 because that's really what it was. And I am going to click on a new tab here and call it sheet 2 because they want me to create in a new tab, basically. I was trying to understand what they wanted, right? It says, because we want to create a chart, select the chart from the list and press enter or OK. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert, we're going to highlight A4, and I'm going to say I want to insert a chart. Insert I need my data first. I'm gonna do this the easy way first so I could show you. So I'm gonna go use this and I'm gonna click on this. So by just highlighting my data and clicking chart type, it did it for me, right? So if you look at sales versus net income in 2013, sales was 77 grand, but net income was 21 grand. So you're able to see the discrepancies here. All right. You could make it bigger by dragging on the sides. You could also click on your chart and create it an header. So if you, I'm going to cancel. So if you click on the double click on the chart itself, you could change the font, the colors, alright, shadowing, lining. Okay, so if you go to your books, it says a chart will open with your display data automatically in the chart. It won't have a chart title or access table and will require a few other enhancements. So we're going to enhance it. The first enhancement that we're going to do, I'm going to cancel this, is by adding a title. Select the chart and then click the chart elements button that appears in the upper right hand corner. I don't see. Alright. I think I'm clicking the wrong thing. It says select the chart and click the elements button that appears in the upper right hand corner. Click the chart title item and choose the center overlay option, and in the text box that appears, type Microsoft sales versus net income. I'm on page 27, the third paragraph up. So I am going to change my chart layout. Oops, clicking on my chart. I want a chart that will give me a chart title, so I choose a different layout. I click on the title, and I just want to click on the title to change it, and I'm going to change the title to Microsoft sales versus net income. Okay. You may follow a similar procedure for the axis titles. So for the axis, I want to say, alright, title to insert both the X and Y axis. This is already in millions of dollars. I'm okay with my table, to be honest. If you look in Exhibit 1-6 in your book, it looks pretty much like that. Alright, what you want to do is put millions of dollars here and my axis. Let's see if I can add an axis, because this thing is not working with me sometimes. Alright. You could also change the type of chart that you have. I can change the axis. Let me see. Bring it across. Yes. Text box. Horizontal. Middle centered. Alright. So you could do all of this. Change it, change the type, change the gradient, change how it looks. You guys could play around with that. Well, the other thing I wanted to show you was that you could also change the type of chart. I mean, if you like a line chart, you could just do a line chart. Alright. That might work out for you. Alright, you have that on page 33. Okay, I like column or pie charts, so I like this one. Alright. So, I mean, that's basically it for chapter 1. Alright. Please walk this through. Let me know if you have questions. I think based upon this, you are able to do the homework. If there are any questions with the homework, I will be available again on Thursday night to go through. And if there's anything that I feel that I have missed, I'll be more than happy to create a second video and we go through it. Good night.